You know that feeling when nothing around you feels the same, but you can't explain why. Maybe it's a friend you used to laugh with, now feels distant. Maybe it's a routine you used to enjoy, now feels empty. Or maybe you're just looking at your own life and thinking, is this really me? You start noticing small things that never used to bother you before. The way conversations feel hollow, the way people say the same things over and over, or the way certain places no longer bring you comfort. At first, you try to ignore it. You tell yourself it's temporary, that you're just tired, stressed, or overthinking things. But deep down, you know something is changing inside you. When I first started noticing it, I thought it would pass. I thought I could keep living the same way, acting like nothing had shifted. But the truth is, when you wake up spiritually, or even when you just start seeing life more clearly, you don't only gain clarity or peace, you also confront parts of yourself you've been avoiding all along. The insecurities you never admitted, the habits you pretended weren't there, the truths you pushed aside because they were uncomfortable, inconvenient, or painful. And when that realization hits, it's heavy, it's confusing, it's the dark side nobody really talks about. It's not like someone flips a switch and suddenly everything changes overnight. It creeps in slowly. You notice it in moments when laughter doesn't feel natural, when being with friends starts to feel like acting, when your routine no longer satisfies you. The parts of yourself that were buried, the doubt, the fear, the uncertainty, begin to rise. You feel alone, not because there's no one around, but because no one can truly see what's happening inside you. And that's when the awakening feels like a shadow. The very process of growth brings discomfort, isolation, and self-questioning. But it's also necessary, because through this darkness, you start seeing yourself for the first time, honestly and clearly. I remember reading Carl Jung on the shadow self, and at first, it scared me. He explained that everyone carries a shadow, the parts of themselves they hide, deny, or suppress, the thoughts, feelings, and impulses that we don't want others to see, and sometimes even that we don't want to see ourselves. At first, I didn't think it would affect me, but the moment awakening begins, that shadow doesn't stay hidden. It doesn't politely wait for a better time. It shows up, and when it does, suddenly life feels heavier than it ever has before. The people you used to rely on feel shallow. Conversations that once brought comfort feel hollow. Even the spaces you once loved, the places where you thought you were happy, start to feel wrong. And with that shift, a flood of questions rises inside you. Who am I? What do I really want? Why do I even feel like this? The answers aren't simple, and that confusion, that deep loneliness, is not a sign that you've failed. It's part of the process. Søren Kierkegaard called it the dizziness of freedom, and he wasn't exaggerating. Once you truly see how free you are, the weight of choices hits differently. You can't ignore it. You can't pretend anymore. Every decision suddenly carries meaning. Every small choice has weight. And the life you've been living, the familiar patterns, the comfort zones, the people and habits you took for granted, suddenly feels uncomfortable, as if it no longer fits the person you are becoming. This is why spiritual awakening can feel terrifying, because it doesn't just show you light, it strips away everything that doesn't belong. Your old habits, your old friends, the version of yourself you were comfortable being, before revealing what truly does belong. And yes, it's lonely. Not the nobody is around me kind of lonely. Not the kind that can be fixed by scrolling social media or going out for a night with friends. It's the kind of loneliness where no one truly understands you, where no words seem to fit the weight you carry inside. And yet this is exactly what you need, because in that solitude, in that uncomfortable awareness, something begins to shift. Something begins to grow. You start seeing yourself clearly, not as the world shaped you, but as you really are. And that is both the hardest and the most important part of awakening. I remember sitting alone one night, staring at the ceiling, thinking, did I break something? Did I mess this up? It felt like the world around me was moving on, while I was stuck inside my own head. The questions kept looping. Why do I feel so different? Why does nothing feel the same? Why can't I just be happy like before? But the truth was, I wasn't broken. I hadn't done anything wrong. I was just waking up. I was beginning to see life clearly, not the filtered, easy version I had been living in, but the raw, unedited truth. And that clarity doesn't always feel good at first. In fact, it can be uncomfortable, confusing, and even frightening. Suddenly, old patterns felt hollow. Relationships that once seemed meaningful started to feel shallow. Even the routines I once loved now felt constricting. If you've been feeling disconnected, confused, or even afraid lately, know this: you're not broken. You're not overthinking everything. You're not losing yourself. You're simply growing. And that growth, it doesn't come without a shadow. It comes with weight, a darkness that sits in your chest and whispers doubts you've never faced before. Nights when you feel alone, even in a crowded room. Moments when you question whether the changes inside you are worth it. But here's the thing. The dark side isn't a warning. It isn't a sign that you're failing. It's a preparation. It's the universe or life shaping you for something real, something that actually fits. Because once you face it, once you look at that shadow, once you accept it, you can never go back to being unaware. And that is powerful. The life that truly belongs to you, the one that aligns with who you are becoming, finally begins to unfold. Slowly, subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. The fear, the discomfort, the loneliness, they all start to make sense. They were the guideposts pointing you towards something better. And one day, you'll look back at the nights you felt lost and realize those moments weren't the end of you. They were the beginning of the real you. So if you've been feeling this way, take a deep breath. Really feel it. Let yourself pause for a moment. Let yourself just be. You don't always have to fix it immediately. You don't have to rush through it. Sit with it. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Because what you're feeling, the heaviness, the confusion, the restlessness, is not meaningless. It's not a punishment. What feels overwhelming now might actually be the beginning of something much bigger. The life you've been longing for, the clarity you've been searching for, the version of yourself that feels authentic and real. It's all quietly taking shape beneath the surface. You might not see it yet, and that's okay. Growth often happens in the shadows, in the moments when it feels like nothing is moving. But inside, everything is shifting. I know it can feel lonely. I know it can feel uncertain. You might even wonder if it will ever get easier, or if you'll ever feel normal again. But this heaviness, this darkness, it's temporary, and it's necessary, because in these moments, you're shedding what no longer fits. You're making space for the real, unfiltered version of yourself to emerge. One day, you'll look back at these moments of confusion, fear, and heaviness, and you'll see them for what they really were. Not the end of your story, but the first step toward seeing clearly, toward living fully, toward finally being aligned with yourself. This darkness wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to guide you, to prepare you, to open your eyes to who you really are and what your life can truly become. So take your time. Be patient with yourself. Trust the process, because the very weight you feel today is the foundation for the freedom, clarity, and authenticity you've been waiting for. And when that moment comes, you'll realize something incredible. The hardest parts of this journey were also the most necessary. They were the first steps toward finally seeing clearly.